Hi, I'm Ellis George, play Courtney Woods, and you're listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast.
The tangents and squeak continue all the way to episode 47 of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. I have a hat, and in that hat contains pieces of paper, and those pieces of paper say stuff on them. We're going to draw one of them out and see what happens. Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. So glad you could join us. Let's start off like we do every week by going around the virtual table and see who's joined us this week.
This is Brittany in Fort Pierce.
This is Chrissy in Salt Lake City.
This is Mitch in Kitchener, Ontario.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
We're
Hello.
ish. Holly had stuff come up. And she's with family. Doing things. The opportunity for a free meal came up. I can't blame her for that.
Right?
Free dinner? Sure, why not? No, she's got family visiting from out of town, and they wanted to take everyone out for dinner. So go spend time with your family you don't see very often. She says hello, and she will hopefully join us this week. Hopefully everybody will be joining us next week, because next week is going to be something else, I think, but we'll get into that. We'll get into that later. So first off, it's been another slow news week, but we do have a little bit of news, so let's get into news.
And the first bit of news is kind of portents of things to come, because every time, in a couple of weeks around this time of year, San Diego Comic-Con starts making a lot of announcements. And this year, we have Doctor Who is coming to San Diego Comic-Con after a 1-year hiatus. So, woohoo! Woo! And first off, I've got to make this comment. I'm kind of sad that that Craig Ferguson is no longer with the Late Late Show anymore, because usually when Comic-Con comes around, he would have the Doctor Who people on his show, and my greatest wish before he moved on to something else was for Craig Ferguson and Peter Capaldi to be on the Peter Capaldi to be on with Craig Ferguson talking Doctor Who, and it didn't happen. It makes me sad. But anyway, that being said, Doctor Who's going to be there. They will have a Hall H panel on the Thursday. July 9th is when it is. That seems kind of early.
That seems kind of late.
Sorry, talking out loud.
But maybe not.
I remember it being around like July 24th last year.
Really?
But yeah.
It becomes a blur. Even though I'm not there, just the Twitter feed is just, never ending.
True.
You thought Royal Baby Watch was crazy on Twitter, dude. Just wait till San Diego Comic-Con.
Comic-Con is like, I'm not going to get any work done.
No.
I'm sorry. But let's see. So Peter Capaldi will be there. Jenna Coleman, Michelle Gomez, which is pretty cool. She'll be there. And Stephen Moffat and executive producer Brian Minchin will all be on that panel. And I love what Peter Capaldi said about his first ever Comic-Con appearance, because I could just see him like exploding from happiness at this. And this is what he said. Tales of San Diego Comic-Con are told in awe on every set around the known fantasy sci-fi production world. It has become a fabled kingdom, one I am thrilled to find myself heading for, and to appear in the legendary Hall H is a further twist to the cosplay and comic madness I may never recover from. Oh, I love Peter Capaldi with all my heart and soul. I just do. So I kind of wonder if maybe he'll pull a Matt Smith and walk around the con floor with a mask or something, just to kind of enjoy the atmosphere without being mobbed. Because that would be fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I would love that to bits if that turned out to happen. I'm sure. I don't know. I just see Peter Capaldi as having something sneaky and creative and fun up his sleeve. But Yeah, because he showed up at the Doctor Who experience like a week or so ago, and the people were, and it wasn't like a planned thing or planned appearance or anything. The people at Doctor Who experience just said, "Hey, just shut up." It was his day off, so here he was.
He showed up. He was like,
how would it?
He was serving people at the concession stand.
Yeah, and I would be like, how would it be? Like, you go to the concession stand to get, like, ice cream or nachos or whatever it is they have there, and the doctor hands it to you, and I would be all like, what?
Yeah.
Is that my order?
Open.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, what did I order?
Yeah.
How much? What?
They could have got my order wrong, and I wouldn't have cared. I wouldn't have complained at all.
I wouldn't have cared. He could have put something on there that I said don't put on, like onions or mustard or whatever I usually say, and I'd be like, I wouldn't even know. I'd be like, the doctor served me my food. This is just,
Yeah.
So anyway, Comic-Con's coming up, and I'm sure we'll have a lot more news from a lot more fandoms as time goes on, so watch this space.
Absolutely. Moving on, the folks over at Star Wars released a photograph. It was actually taken by Annie Leibovitz, who, if you've seen any of her pictures, like the type of photography she does, and she does a lot with, she's done a lot of really cool images with celebrities in Disney, like, scenarios. Like, she's had, like, Queen Latifah as Ursula, and, like, Jack Black is, like...
I know who she is.
Yeah, she's a great photographer. Yeah. But, anyway, she took recently...
Johansson is Cinderella.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on.
So she recently, I guess, at some point, took a picture of Andy Serkis in his full motion caption, like, set up for whatever character he's playing in Star. And Andy's character has been kind of very hush-hush. They haven't really said who exactly he's playing. But now Star Wars has released this image that she took with actually announcing the character's name that Andy will be playing. He's going to be playing Supreme Leader Snoke. I think that's how it's pronounced. So.
Well, it's Star Wars. It could be Bob for all we know.
Yeah. So, but it's people have been very curious about who exactly he's playing, whether it's going to be, again, a motion capture, because that's kind of his thing. Although as we saw in Age of Ultron, he was actually himself. Not motion capture. It was actually his body and face and everything. But and if we remember from the first trailer that got released, where it's like there's been a disturbance in the Force, and people are all like, whose voice is that? And people were speculating, and Andy Serkis was finally like, that's me. That's my voice doing the voiceover on that trailer. So, let the speculation go. Like, they have a voice, they have a name, they have an image, and it's him and his motion capture, so we still don't know what the character looks like. But now that we know it's motion capture and it's going to be CGI, who knows? It'll probably be some crazy alien thing that can't be created any other way. So it should be interesting. So
yeah.
But all the people that are constantly, every single piece of anything that gets released from the Star Wars camp, they're slowly trying to put the puzzle together, so the time the movie comes out, they're going to be like, I know everything! And they're probably not. But, so.
Yeah,
Side note.
I did.
Yeah. Side note. So let me go on a slight thing here for a second. And Chauncey, as you're listening to this, plug your ears, because this will be slight spoilers. Disneyland recently kicked off their 60th celebration for the 60th anniversary of Disneyland's opening. And they released, or came up with, a new version of their World of Color show, which is over at Disney's California Adventure. And World of Color in itself is an amazing show. It's all like lasers and lights, and they project on water. and it's the coolest thing. But this new version, it's all celebrating Disneyland and the Disney Company and all that, and the movies and all that. But of course, they've injected both. They started with like Walt and his idea for Disneyland, and Snow White and Mickey Mouse and all that, and it's gone all the way to what Disney is doing now, and that included Star Wars, and they've put bits from Episode 7 from the trailer, and it's got that shot of Han Solo and Chewie, and it's Harrison Ford going, "Chewie, we're home." And every time I watch it, I've watched it multiple times, and every time I'm like, "Ah!" Yeah. So, it's like the whole thing is just cool in general, with the fact that it's added the Star Wars, and the movie's not even out yet, and Disney is taking stuff from Episode 7 and putting it into the stuff in the parks. It's just really cool. So, and Chauncey, you can take your fingers out of your ears now, because we're planning on going to Disneyland later this year, and he's trying to avoid hearing anything about like the new fireworks and the parade and all that. So he's like, "I'm not watching, I'm not listening." I'm like, "You're gonna be lucky if you make it." But so
good luck. Yeah. I have a funny quick story that's Star Wars related and Disney related, because my roommate teaches elementary school, and she teaches like 6-7-year-olds, and she's got this one little boy who is so upset that Disney bought Star Wars, because in his mind Disney is going to ruin everything. And I'm just like, I mean this child is 7, so there's his experience is probably the prequels, and maybe, I don't know, but he's just that's what he gets fixated on, and his poor teachers are just like, okay, we need to talk about educational things, but he's like, no, Disney's gonna ruin Star Wars. I'm like, how does this child know who owns Star Wars? Like, how is he, like, is he that plugged in at age 7? Apparently he is.
Maybe.
So we talked about that this afternoon, and it was quite humorous, and she was like, "I thought you'd appreciate that." And I was like, "Oh my gosh." Anyway. So yay, Star Wars.
Yay, Star Wars. And we still have 6 months to go. Or something like that.
I know. We'll make it. There's plenty between now and then to keep us happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Star Wars. Okay. Moving on.
Moving on, Chicago TARDIS has started announcing guests.
Yay!
Yay!
Not that I'm going, but yay!
None of us are going, but at least I don't think so.
Someone out there in podcast land is going, so send us your reports if you go.
Yeah.
And these guests are?
Well, there's only a few of the guests.
Well, they've announced several industry guests too. They're like, like big Finnish people and editors and those sort of things. But as far as actors go, they've only announced like 3.
Vern Gorman, who played Owen on Torchwood. Eve Miles, who is Gwen on Torchwood. And Katrin Stewart, who plays Jenny Flint. So.
Or Mrs. Vastra.
That too.
Yep. I know, it took me a minute, like, Jenny Flint. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the other Jenny.
Vastra's Jenny.
Yeah. Chicago TARDIS, they were posting on their Facebook and on their website. Hints, and one of their hints, so it was like they gave like 3 hints, and each one were for different people. And like the first one is the guy who's like an editor for Doctor Who magazine. The second one was something about Torchwood and getting burned, and Eve on an audio. And the last one was 8675309. Jenny.
I get it.
Jenny, yeah. So.
Oh, okay. I was like, what?
Yeah. Hey, Jenny, I got your. Yeah, so people are all like, Jenny, was like, well, there's been 2 Jennies, but the odds are
Yeah.
more than likely it's going to be Jenny from the Paternoster gang and not Jenny, the doctor's daughter. So
Who happens to be the doctor's wife, and let's
Yeah.
not go through that again.
the doctor's daughter who happens
yeah.
to be the doctor's wife and had the doctor's. Yeah, so we're not going to get into that. But anyway,
Yep, we know all about that.
apparently recently Peter Davison said that having a doctor for a son-in-law is weird. But I don't blame him. Anyway, so
He's like, I'm the doctor in this family. Well,
nope.
you're not the only one anymore, friend.
Yeah. So,
Which,
but anyway,
recently I rewatched the Five-ish Doctors reboot again. Still just as funny as ever.
oh yes,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Laughed all the way through it. I was gonna post it on. It was part of an article that because Peter Davison is hosting the Doctor Who Symphonic Spectacular, I think is what it's called,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's in Australia currently. Maybe I could be wrong. And he was interviewed and talking about it, and I thought they actually had video from the concert with him hosting it, like even just clips, but there was nothing. But they had the Five-ish Doctors reboot, and I was like, oh, I need to watch this again. I was just like, oh,
Yeah.
that was so much fun.
So, but with Byrne and Eve, it's there's always a possibility that John Barrowman may be added as a guest at some point, and we may have a repeat of Gallifrey from earlier this year.
Yeah,
So,
the Torchwood reunion.
yep. So,
It'll be a preview of their new Big Finish line, which we did talk about that
yes.
Yes.
when it was breaking news. Okay.
Yep.
The weeks are running together for me.
Yeah.
I can't
the
keep
fact.
track.
Yeah, the fact that as we're recording tomorrow is, June 1st. Crazy.
Yep.
Wow. All I know is next week's going to be busy.
Yeah.
This week's going to be busy for me. I've got, anyway,
Yeah.
we'll talk about it off mic.
Yeah. So that's it for.
Let's just say my brother's getting married this summer. Things are getting crazy.
Yeah. As they do with weddings.
Indeed.
So.
Yeah, well, we had one of the ladies who's doing hair for my sister's wedding over on this past Thursday, and she's styled my sister's hair so she would know how long it would take day of, and styled my hair so she knows what she wants to do with it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It looks nice. So.
Well, that's good.
It's wedding season. I would say both of you need to send me
Wedding season.
yeah. I would say both of you need to send me some cake,
This
but
time
it would
in
never
3
make it.
weeks,
So.
my sister will be on her honeymoon.
Yay!
Yeah, Rachel, I don't know if the cake would make it to Indianapolis.
I know. I can dream though. Anyway,
I
so
don't even know what's going on. I went shopping for a dress for the wedding yesterday, trying to find the right color. I found a dress style that I liked, but not the right color. I found a dress with the right color, but not a style I liked. And I was just like, this isn't happening.
that sounds about right.
Yep.
This is not working. Oh. Anyway.
Yep.
I'll find
Moving
no more
on.
weddings.
Moving on. So that's it. That's it for news. But we little bit of housekeeping. And new month means new photo challenge, which we teased a little bit a few weeks ago, and left you hanging. Now we won't leave you hanging anymore.
Yep. This, June's photo challenge is the 30 days of channel surfing, which it's similar to what we did with the 31 days of Halloween and the can't remember the name of it now.
The Potter photo, Potter photo challenge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. I which shows 30 entries for each day, obviously, and it's all themed around TV shows. For example, there are like The Last Show You Mainlined, favorite miniseries, favorite male, female TV character, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
The whole list is, we have it posted on the blog, and
It's on your blog too, so
yeah, it was.
so
And
you can reference either one of those.
There, so.
yeah,
Yep.
You've made the same rules as always, which there's no rules.
Yeah.
The rules are there are
Usual.
rules.
Yep.
Pretty much. So, but yeah, I'm excited for this one. So
I do want to clarify because I forgot to put it. I need to add it, but this also includes like Netflix originals and like website, internet shows.
right.
I forgot to write
So
that,
like
but
YouTube
Web
stuff.
series.
Yeah.
If it could be shown on TV, even if it's not,
Exactly.
how's that?
TV is very, very free and loose in this point.
Yes.
Hmm.
Thanks
This
to
day and age. Yeah.
thanks to the internet.
If it has episodes and it's visual,
Oh.
it counts.
Yeah.
On the topic of Netflix originals, there's this really good new show that's gonna be coming out on Netflix on June 5th called Sense8, where like 8 people around the world are like become connected and stuff, and it looks really good so far from what I've seen of like promotional stuff. And Prima Adjuman is appearing in like at least a few episodes of it.
Ooh.
Well.
So I'll probably at least have started it by our next episode. Hopefully, maybe if I'm really ambitious, finished it before we record. Because it's 12 episodes in. So
Yeah. Those Netflix series,
Probably.
it's like
45 minutes,
Yeah.
probably ish, to an hour.
Question,
yes.
real quick on this. Number 14.
Yes.
What are you trying to say there? TV show stay network.
I messed up with that because stupid my
Okay.
laptop likes to like jump, and I tried catching it, but I don't because my.
Okay.
But it's
I understand. I just was like, if I was confused, there may be someone out there in podcast land that's confused too.
I'll fix that. Thank you for catching that. But,
Yeah.
but it's ignore the stay.
I don't want to. Okay. Okay. I don't want to publicly embarrass you because I hate it when that happens to me too. But I just had a question.
All right.
So if anyone out there wants to participate and you do get confused or want clarification, just tweet one of us or ask on our Facebook and we'll clarify it for you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So.
And like we said, there are no hard and fast rules. If you like, if that's the way, if you like an entry and that's the answer you want,
Go for it.
great.
Heck, you can
Like
finish
doctor
it.
points or something.
Yeah.
You can finish it days after Sean.
Yeah.
Hey, it's for the month. It's for the month of May. He made it before the end of the month, so there, it works.
I think he wanted to finish it just so he could cap off the entire thing with that image of Kate Upton in her underwear in zero gravity.
Very calm, probably.
That is par for the course for Sean. We love you, Sean. Bless your heart.
Yeah.
Never change.
Yeah.
Never change.
Yeah. So, new photo challenge starts tomorrow as of we're recording this, so June 1st. And we'll go through the entire month. And then Holly's not here, but a reminder, because last month the book club came down to a flip of a coin, so we already knew what June's was going to be at the beginning of May. But a reminder that June's book for the book club is Lethbridge Stewart, The Forgotten Son. So there is those things. So this is going to be interesting.
We have a new thing that we're doing.
We came up with a thing, and at first, I posed this idea, and people were like, oh yeah, that sounds like a good idea. So the idea was we were going to come up with a list of names of actors and actresses that we like and watch stuff that they're in, and we were going to pick one at random, and we were going to talk about that person. But, and that could have been easily enough. We could have put it to a vote and picked one that way, but why be that simple? So, I was not kidding when I said at the beginning, I have a hat. If you can hear it, I have a hat. And it is full of little slips of paper with names. Each of it has a name. I think we ended up with maybe like a dozen names at this point as of when we're recording, but we can always add names for, when we want to do this again. But it's mostly male, and they're mostly English and or Scottish, but considering our fandoms, that doesn't surprise me. Really. So I thought maybe it would be fun if because usually, we know at least several days in advance what we're going to talk about, and we have time to do research or watch stuff, and we're prepared, but we're going to live a little dangerously because, we've been doing this for almost a year. Why not? Let's change up things here. So I'm going to draw one of these out of the hat, and whoever I pick, that's who we're going to talk about. And some of these people we know more about than others, so some of us are rooting for certain names. But it is what it is.
Depending on who she picks, it could be a very short podcast.
And Wikipedia may be our friend. So, all right, shaking the hat. Whoops, make sure none of them fly out. All right, hand in.
She wasn't kidding about the hat.
No, I was not kidding.
You can hear it rustling over there.
Yeah. I kind of wish there was more paper just so it could be more shuffled, but at the same time, it's like, okay, that's two. I can't do two. I only need. Yeah. Okay. Okay, the winner is, drum roll please, Martin Freeman.
Oh, hey, we can talk about him.
Because we already sort of talked about him once. When
we'll do it again.
We talk Guardians of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So Martin
just to
Freeman.
recap, he has been in Sherlock as Dr. John Watson. He has been Bilbo Baggins in The Hobbit, and he was Arthur Dent in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And what else? What else do you guys know him from? He was in Love Actually.
He was in Love Actually. He was on the English version of The Office, which is where The Office actually originated. Before we got a hold of it. So, yeah, Martin Freeman.
Famous for playing guys who don't know how the heck they got there in the first place.
Yeah. Yes. That is very, very true. That is very, very true. So,
but he does it quite well.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think the first thing I ever saw Martin in was Love Actually. I think that's the first place I ever saw him until I watched Sherlock, and then he got cast in The Hobbit. So, I would assume either Sherlock or The Hobbit is probably where most of you guys probably saw him for the first time.
For me, it was Hitchhiker's Guide.
Was it?
Yeah. I saw that in the theaters.
Okay. Yeah, for me it was Sherlock, and so when he was cast in as Bilbo in The Hobbit, I was like, oh, it's Dr. Watson, and I was like, oh yeah, that's gonna be a perfect. That's gonna be a good one.
Yep.
That's what I know him from.
So.
You know, I'm gonna look him up on Wikipedia.
Yeah, say sometimes you kind of need
bio or something.
Yeah, sometimes it's you watch stuff and people will be in it, and you remember seeing the face, but you don't remember like who they were. So
his wife Amanda, I can't remember her last name, plays Mary in Sherlock.
Yeah, which is
well, I don't know that they're actually married, but they have 2 kids.
I don't know.
Let's see.
Yeah,
maybe they're not married.
Well,
so Martin.
He was also in the Cornetto trilogy, the 2013's The World's End, which I have not seen, but I know the Vortex boys are huge fans of that, so I wanted to mention that.
And I know he's in one. I think it was an HBO show I didn't watch, but I know he was in something I can't remember, so I don't even know why I brought it up.
Yeah. And he has been cast as we don't know who he's playing yet, but in Captain America: Civil War, so he's going to be there.
Yes. Yep. Which we did. So.
Apparently, he was on an episode of Saturday Night Live. He hosted it.
Last year. He hosted. So, and then he was on that TV adaptation of Fargo.
I think that's what I'm thinking of, but that might not be HBO. I don't know. I'm bad.
When you watch as much stuff as we do, stuff starts to blend together. So.
If anybody listened to the podcast, The Memory Cheats, it's where Steven from Radio Free Scaro and his other little buddy there, they would draw Doctor Who episodes out of a randomizer thing and talk about them. So this is what we're doing: is we're refreshing our minds as to what Martin Freeman has been in that we have actually seen, so we can actually talk about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the thing with Martin, and I think and it's like what we said a little bit ago, and I think when we also talked Hitchhiker's Guide, and Brittany shared that wonderful photo on our Facebook where it's like Martin Freeman and Hitchhikers, and it's like, oh, nice quiet life, and then nope. That's him and Sherlock, nice quiet life. Nope. Him and the Hobbit, nice quiet life. Nope.
Nope.
Martin does the everyman, but then it's the everyman who ends up in these situations that he's not entirely sure how he got there, and he resists it until he realizes he can't resist it anymore and just goes along with it.
Well, in terms of The Hobbit, and I don't know, because I've been listening to this, it's on iTunes U, and it's like this lecture series about The Hobbit, and it's just this professor talking about his, it's kind of cool, and if you have an iPad or, it's on iTunes U, look it up, it's kind of cool. Anyway, and he discusses, Bilbo's desire to stay home, but it's also at war with his Tookishness, because that's his mother's side of the family. They're very adventurous, where the Bagginses are not adventurous. They want to stay home and sip tea and have comfortable lives with regular meals and cozy fires and a book, and like adventures make you live for dinner. And so, like, as I'm listening to these lectures, I'm like halfway through the lecture series, because I don't have time to listen constantly. I wish I did. As I'm listening to this, I am picturing Bilbo Baggins as played by Martin Freeman, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's who he is. But at the same time, as you go through the adventure with Bilbo, and he's just talking about the book, but, you know, I can't help but imagine Bilbo from the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I can also see, like, his portrayal there as Bilbo learns to be heroic and learns to be courageous and learns to embrace the adventure that he's on, and it does change him from, you know, this timid little hobbit at the beginning, and even in the first movie and we've all seen that gif of Bilbo running off, I'm going on an adventure, and the tract is trailing behind in his fist, and he's got his little backpack, and, you know, then you watch the movie, and he catches up to the dwarves on their ponies, and he's like, I'm here, I've signed it, and you know, the dwarves are kind of, like, way impressed with him, and everything, and I think, but they're not impressed so much as he's like, well, you're still just this kind of goofy little creature that Gandalf tells us we have to tag along, and I don't know what the heck you're doing here, but whatever. And I love his earnestness in that performance, in that portrayal, and I think he does it really well. So, you know, while he is sort of typecast as this everyman who doesn't know where the heck he's going or how he got here, he's also very good at portraying someone who can adapt, which also comes in Sherlock, because, you know, Sherlock is off, you know, 2 steps ahead doing backflips somewhere that he doesn't know, and he's got to catch up while apologizing to everybody that Sherlock has offended along the way. And, you know, I was trying to be that humanizing effect. So it's like he's the audience avatar, I guess, in the story. He's the one that you relate to in the story. But at the same time, he lets the adventure sort of take him along for the ride, and he enjoys it after he's sort of gotten into the groove of it.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like how you explain that kind of compares it to like Doctor and his companion.
Yes. So if Martin Freeman ever ended up being on Doctor Who, he would be a good companion.
Yeah, that he would.
Or even just like he wouldn't have to be a season long one. He could be like on a special or something, like one of those one-off companions. Those people are like, oh, what if they were companions all the time on the TARDIS? I don't think he would be, or, you know, maybe he would, I don't know, but it would kind of be interesting, like maybe have, you know, Peter Capaldi with Martin Freeman as his companion, or playing his companion.
I can visualize it, and it is glorious. Oh my. No.
Or, you know, John Watson as the Doctor's companion. He's like, you know, Capaldi, or, you know, the 12 is going along, is insulting everybody, and Dr. Watson's like, yeah, I know how this works. I'm used to this.
There's the Who-Lock crossover. So many people want the Who-Lock crossover, but they want the Doctor with Benedict Cumberbatch as Sherlock. No, it should be the Doctor and Watson, and see how that goes.
Yes, because the Doctor and Sherlock is just too easy. It's too many brains in the TARDIS, but the Doctor and Watson, I could see that.
Oh, yes.
Not that the other one isn't good, but
right.
I think this would work.
Yeah. Well, you know, the Doctor with Sherlock is kind of like River Song said, you know, only one psychopath in the TARDIS at a time.
Yes.
Excuse me. So, yeah, I just, you know.
No, I just reminded, I saw a piece of fan art that Sherlock and Dr. Watson were in the TARDIS, and Sherlock was going like this mental breakdown, like this can't be logical.
Yeah. Oh, we need this to happen, even if it's just like a Red Nose Day special. You know, we need this. We need this to happen.
Oh yeah, that would be a good.
I know Moffat has said that
would be a good place to do that.
Yeah, so I know Moffat has said that Who-Lock is probably never going to happen, but you know, for like Red Nose Day, I think it would be perfect. So.
Yeah, it's definitely like a Red-Nosed Day or Children in Need sort of a crossover with Call the Midwife for one of those.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember if it's Red-Nosed Day or the other one, but so I'm like, why not?
Yeah,
might as well.
It's technically been a Hulu crossover books. Not these characters per se, but sort of.
Yeah.
I haven't read the book. I just know it's like the Seventh Doctor meets Sherlock Holmes, and I'm not sure.
Oh. Interesting.
Doable.
It is doable.
Yeah.
Well, you got Stephen Moffat. It'd be all up to Moffat, because both of those are his thing. So, but anyway.
Yep.
We're
anyway
getting off topic here.
Oh,
sorry, Martin.
Getting off topic. Just kind of get you in the wings. Well, Brittany, you mentioned Amanda Abington.
Yes.
I guess we gotta mention her. One of my absolute favorite episodes of Sherlock is The Sign of Three, and I don't consider myself as big a Sherlock fan as some people, but I did see the third series of it. I really enjoyed, and mostly because of that middle story where it's Watson and Mary getting married. And it's all about their wedding, but it's also about, all these, it almost feels like a clip show, but it's not, because it's like they're going through and remembering all these stories or these cases that they solved where they're off camera, or, that we didn't see, that there wasn't an actual episode about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just saw those different little things. And I really liked about that one that, it was a little bit more lighthearted than before, so there was a lot more humor to it, and it was about a wedding, so you can't bring it down too much, and just I like the balance between Watson with Mary and then Watson with Sherlock, because we see Watson and Sherlock's relationship so much that it almost seems like he doesn't have a life outside of Sherlock, but then you have Mary come along, and they're in love, and they're getting married and everything. And then Mary, she approves of Watson's friendship and working relationship with Sherlock. So it's like they're almost, I don't want to compare them to the Harry Potter trio, because it's a little bit different. But at the same time, it kind of feels like there's that dynamic too, and it's just it's fun. And like she's not jealous of Watson and Sherlock. She's not begrudging that. She is like, okay, you guys go have fun. And there's that part where Sherlock takes Watson out on his stag night because it's like something. So he has read that is what friends do. So they go get drunk, and drunk Sherlock is just plain hilarious.
Yep.
And Watson isn't much help because he's drunk out of his mind too. And they're trying to solve a crime. And they do, but they don't do it till later because they're so soaked out of their gourds. It's wonderful. And then at the end with when Sherlock leaves the party, and that kind of sets up the emotional third episode of that season, and they've had the wedding and the reveal that Mary is pregnant, and like, oh, this is such a cute episode. Why can't this end the season? No, we've got to have more angst and drama in episode 3. Thanks a lot, Moffat. But...
And now we're still waiting for a resolution. Yeah, I had not realized that Martin and Amanda were a couple in real life when I was watching Sherlock, because it's interesting when couples work together and they play a couple on a show, and I think that it shows that, because really good actors, they can make you feel the feels and the love and the angst and all that, regardless of whether they have like any sort of real relationship with the other person in real life. And then sometimes, it turns into a relationship, like Brangelina.
Or Ginny Goodwin and Josh Dallas.
Yeah, but I think that you can... I don't know if I could be in that sort of line of work and work opposite my partner, but you know, those that can do it, more power
People
to them,
make it
because I
work.
think sometimes it works. So,
And every situation's different.
yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. So, but I just, you know, once I found out afterwards, I was like, oh yeah, I can kind of see the chemistry there. You know, it's just, you know, obviously Sherlock is just, it's full of just angst and just
Yeah.
rip your heart out and throw it on the floor and step on it a few times because it is Stephen Moffat.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Although just because I watched it last night, the Outlander finale. Oh boy, I think that might give Stephen Moffat a run for his money.
Don't say anything. I have yet to watch it.
That's all I'm saying.
I just kind of figured how the.
Prepare yourself. That's all.
Yeah.
I'm kind of figured after how last week's episode.
Mm. Now, what's interesting is, you know, Martin and Amanda are together and have been for quite a while. But it's interesting from what I've read online. Of course, you know, you can believe everything you read on the internet because it's on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's on Wikipedia.
Yeah, it must be true. If it's on Tumblr, it must be true, you know. But from what I've read is even after being in Sherlock together and The Hobbit together, apparently Martin and Benedict Cumberbatch are not like best buds. And they, you know, they don't like hang out and do stuff together. As far as I know, like Martin and Amanda were not at Benedict's wedding. As far as I know, which I find kind of interesting, well, but you know, it is what it is, I guess. But you know, after
they could have been busy too, like.
Well, yeah, that's true too. But from what I read, you know, that they're friends, but they're not like Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart, where they're like running around, you know, having fun and, you know, posting selfies of, you know, taking selfies with each other.
So. Adorable little old men.
Yeah. But, you know, that Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart have set the, you know, the bromance bar really high. So.
I mean, I've been in, well, I don't know if the friendship was before X-Men, but they've been together with X-Men for 15 years now, so
yeah.
Who knows?
No, I think they've been friends longer than that, though.
Probably. I don't know.
Yeah. But I don't know. I again, you know, you can't believe everything you've read on the internet, but I found that kind of interesting. And it may be that actually they are pretty good friends, and we just don't see it because neither of them are like on Twitter or Instagram or that stuff. They tend to be very private and keep things on the down, as opposed to like, because I think of like the Once Upon a Time cast, and they're all like on Instagram, and you see all these fun pictures of them, you know, cracking each other up on set and going out for meals and coffee and just being, you know, this big old happy family. And you don't see that with like the cast of Sherlock, but that may just be because they want to keep things more private, and they may actually be going out for drinks and stuff. So.
None of them are really on social media. The only one, like Amanda, I know has a Twitter feed, but I don't think Martin and Benedict do.
They don't.
And that just could be because, and I know with Once Upon a Time, I know ABC is like really big on pushing the social media stuff and having their, not just for Once Upon a Time, but for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and for other shows and Castle. I've seen them do that is you know, interacting with the fans on social media for good or ill, but that's another topic.
Mm-hmm.
So it just could be that's, you know, the culture of the different networks and how they are.
It may be,
In
or it may be a
different countries.
cultural thing too. So
Yeah.
not that I want to stereotype like, the Brits over us, but
Yeah.
when you think of the celebrities that are on social media, at least like the fandoms that we're into, it's the Doctor Who stars and all. A lot of them aren't on social media either. So
Yeah.
like Jenna got
Or
an Instagram and she barely uses it. So
yeah. Or the ones that are like Karen Gillan and Arthur Darvill, people who've left who aren't on Doctor Who anymore. Freema Agyeman has Twitter.
Yeah.
I
So
haven't
does
seen her
Noel.
very much. But
Noel Clark does.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Matt's not though, but his mother
sister is.
Matt's mother is.
And I think Matt's sister is as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they post pictures of Matt. Like the cutest one I've seen was Matt's mom taking a picture of him doing the dishes and being like, "Oh, my son is so sweet for doing the washing up," and I'm just like, "Oh, that's adorable."
Good for you, Matt.
I love just going on Matt's mom's Twitter and looking at all the pictures she posts of him.
Oh,
It probably sounds
so
just a bit creepy, but okay.
Hey, she interacts with the Doctor Who fans, and people say, "Tell Matt we love him and we miss him," and she's like, "Will do. He loves and misses you too." And
I remember one time
she's like the mother of the
was...
Doctor Who family. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
I remember one time Matt was at a convention when it was Mother's Day in the UK, and he had someone take a picture and. Like, he got a picture taken with a sign wishing his mom Happy Mother's Day and had a friend tweet it to her.
Aww. Matt, we adore you.
Yeah. So yeah, Martin Freeman.
Martin.
He actually, if you look at his if you look on Wikipedia or like his IMDb, like he really has only been active for not quite 20 years. So I mean, in all things considering, he's still young as far as his career goes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he didn't really make it real big until fairly recently.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, maybe he was in the UK. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, when I think
if
when
they're not,
when he did,
if they're not in Harry Potter or Doctor Who, I don't know about him.
Yeah. I mean, when he did Hitchhikers, it was just after he'd done The Office in the UK, so he would have been known to the people in the UK, but it really wasn't until Sherlock, I think, that he really took off, and then obviously being cast as in The Hobbit, that really skyrocketed, and obviously now he's going to be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and in Civil War, so his ticker his ticker is in his stock is rising, and really can only go further up. So but
and I kind of hope with the Marvel, whatever he's playing in Captain America, I kind of hope that it's less how the heck did I get here and more
I belong here.
Because they haven't said who he's playing. Yeah, I belong here. Or maybe there's a little bit of uncertainty at first because I'm like, I'd kind of like to see him branch out a little bit more, if that makes sense. But I'm sure he has in the past. I just haven't seen it because he wasn't on my radar.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. But I'm sure, whatever they do with him and with the Marvel thing, and maybe that's what he's comfortable playing, and, if that's what he excels at, that works. Got to play to your strengths, and some people, they play the same sort of character forever, and that's what suits them, and that's what works for them, and that's great.
Exactly. So, but if you are a fan of Martin Freeman, then, I mean, you have things that you can look forward to him being in, and one of them is Civil War, and then we've got the the one-off Sherlock special that they filmed earlier this year, which we will see hopefully at Christmas this year, and then Sherlock season 4.
An alternate universe Victorian version of modern Sherlock, which is kind of a weird thing to wrap your mind around. Like, okay, Sherlock was Victorian and now it's modern, but then the modern version is switching back to Victorian for a one-off, and it's like, okay, wrap your head around that one.
Yeah. So, Martin is he's keeping busy. So, and then they'll start filming Sherlock season 4 early next year, as we heard, as we mentioned several weeks ago. So, if you're a Freeman fan, keep your eyes peeled to the BBC and or your local movie theater, I guess. So, yeah,
I know he'll be around.
He will be around. And check out his IMDb, and if you've heard about the Cornetto trilogy and have been thinking of watching it, and and you're a Martin Freeman fan, this may be the push you need to go watch it. So,
and from what I heard, because I haven't really watched any of them, you don't have to watch. They're not really a trilogy, so like one thing connects them.
Yeah.
Well, a few things, because similar actors.
Yeah.
But
Simon Pegg and all that, but the Cornetto ice cream is what connects them.
Now, when I first heard of that, I'm just like, okay, it's these movies are kind of comedies, and they're all connected by ice cream.
Yep.
Okay.
Hey, I've made little connections in my fandoms before, so
yeah.
Yeah, but that's fandom. It's not an official
true
thing that we're doing. I don't know. There's some things that are just totally lost on me. I'm sorry. Cornetto trilogy is one of them.
Right. Well, see, but now, people may be more inclined to watch them now. They're like, oh, Martin Freeman, I like him. I'm going to go watch those now because at least there'll be a familiar face in them. So, or if you haven't seen Love Actually,
I know that guy.
If you haven't seen Love Actually, granted, his storyline in Love Actually is more of a B plot as opposed to some of the others. But I mean, he's in it.
There's so many plots in that movie.
Yeah, but some are more involved than others. So there's like the A plots and like the B plots, but they're all connected. Eventually, and they cross over and that sort of thing. So, I mean,
every time you say it's all connected.
Yeah.
Every time you say it's all connected, I think
Marvel. Yeah. It is a Christmas movie, but you don't necessarily have to wait till Christmas to watch it.
Yeah.
So there's that too. And if you've not seen the Hobbit trilogy, go watch it. Just go watch The Hobbit. And if you haven't watched Sherlock, watch it, but have Kleenex handy.
Indeed.
Oh. Let's just say the empty hearse. Martin, John Watson giving Sherlock what for? Yeah. Go Martin. Clobber him.
Have you guys seen how the fandom compares him to a hedgehog?
Yes.
Yes. And then and Benedict is, what is he? An otter.
Otter. Yeah. I don't know, but it just amuses me. Okay, and then they get these pictures of real hedgehogs, and they have these facial expressions, and they find pictures of Martin Freeman with the similar facial expressions.
Yeah.
It's funny.
I think Martin Freeman was on the Graham Norton show one time, and Graham was like, "Have you seen this? They compare you to hedgehogs," and Martin saw it and he laughed, and the person who originated that on Tumblr was like posting about it, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it made the Graham Norton show. It was just so funny. So yeah, Google Martin Freeman as a hedgehog, and you'll find it, and it's kind of cute.
Oh my! Oh, Martin. So we haven't talked that long. So should we do another one? Or should we call it quits?
Then we'll get like Robert Downey Jr.
Hey, you know, could be interesting.
Okay, that's the risk we run. Let's go.
Okay, we're gonna do another one. Watch it, and we'll get Benedict Cumberbatch, and we'll just continue the train of thought we were already on. Meanwhile, on Sherlock and the Hobbit, let's talk about that other character.
Hey, we could throw Star Trek in there too.
Well, that's true.
And I definitely see the Imitation Game.
No, I see that.
Ooh, I haven't seen that. I listened to. Well,
you guys talk. I'll shuffle the papers, and we'll see what happens.
Okay.
So
yeah, Imitation Game. It's pretty awesome.
I've been meaning to watch that.
I didn't expect to enjoy it because
Nope.
I'm not. Because usually when they're. Oh, did you get it?
well, I got another one,
Anyway,
but it's not Benedict Cumberbatch. So, but this person does have ties to Stephen Moffat as well, though. Somebody who is active on social media quite a bit, John Barrowman.
Maybe we can talk about Arrow.
Quite fitting, actually. Considering they recently, what was it, like last week before that was the anniversary of the introduction of Captain Jack Harkness on Doctor Who.
That is true.
So that's a bit serendipitous.
Although, if you have Periscope, John Barrowman's been doing a bunch of those lately.
Yeah,
Which are really cool.
Unlike some of the other people that we've discussed who aren't very active on social media, if at all, John Barrowman, exact opposite. Exact opposite. So, he loves posting pictures. And I mean, sometimes they're of him. His husband Scott is got Instagram and all that. I don't know how active he actually is. I don't pay that much attention to Scott, but
sometimes you'll see John's parents. The other day there was one of his mother giving him a foot rub. His mother is so adorable.
So. I have not watched Arrow yet, so I'm completely ignorant when it comes to that. But if you watch Doctor Who and Torchwood, and like we were talking about Chicago TARDIS, if John comes to Chicago TARDIS, we'll have a nice little Torchwood reunion. But I like to say that aside from the immortality, Captain Jack Harkness is John Barrowman. There is no difference other than one cannot die. He is, I mean, I don't think John Barrowman's a con man, but I mean, the man is like a smooth talker and very charming and loves everyone, regardless of race, age, gender. Although he, in real life, John Barrowman is extremely gay. And he is not afraid to share that with the world. He goes it's so funny, watching him, like when he goes to conventions, and he loves taking pictures with men who are scantily clad cosplay outfits. The less they're wearing, the more likely you are to get a picture and have it go on John Barrowman's Instagram. I'm just saying. If you're a dude and you're chiseled and you're wearing like a loincloth, Barrowman will find you And you will end up on his Instagram more than likely.
Yep.
More power to him.
Heard, I'm trying to remember. Yes, because he did come to Salt Lake Comic Con. I can't remember when. It was not this last time. It might have been last spring. I can't remember now. But he came, and I didn't get to meet him. But I heard from other people who'd gotten pictures, photo ops with him, and they said that he, you know, whatever pose you wanted to do, if you wanted him to hold you, like, you know, bridal carry, I guess is what it's called, or you know, if you wanted, you know, whatever you wanted him to do, he was up for it in your picture. And you know, it was just, and I saw a few pictures during, I think it must have been FanX. That must have been what it was, because that was when all the Arrow people were here and they were doing that. So he is a goofball. He's a clown. He loves to have fun, and he's very, very personable and very respectful, and he's a total sweetheart. And I'm kind of kicking myself I didn't get to meet him when he was here, but you know, maybe he'll come back.
Yeah.
But I was remembering, because today, I don't know if you guys follow the Adventures with the Wife in Space blog. It's Neil Perryman showing Doctor Who. Well, he was showing his wife Sue, like all the classic series of Doctor Who from the beginning, and blogging about it. And people are saying, when are you going to do the new series? And they're like, oh, we're not going to do the new series. Well, now they're doing the new series for like the 10th anniversary sort of thing. And they recently did, but Sue's seen most of them, and she likes the new series. That's kind of what prompted them going back and watching the classic series. And they just recently did the Empty Child Dr. Dance's two-parter. And I just read their entry about the Dr. Dances, and they were pointing out how there were elements of Captain Jack's storyline that were introduced in that two-parter, but they never explored them, like the 2 years of his missing memory, like how he became a con artist. And they were saying like Sue was, I think it was Sue that was saying this, maybe it was Neil, but now I can't remember. They were saying that they liked Captain Jack before the immortality, because it's like, you know, you have that sort of cocky devil-may-care attitude when you can die. That, you know, it's more interesting than if you can't die. That, you know, you go in there, you know, with all swagger and whatever before, you know, because if you get hurt, it's like, who cares? You're not going to die. So it was just kind of an interesting perspective on that. And I was like, never thought of it that way. Of course, I never really got into Torchwood anyway, but I still like him when he comes back in Doctor Who, like in like the Stolen Earth, and he comes back and he's just a goofball, and I love it.
Yeah.
In Torchwood, he's a lot more somber and not quite as funny. And not that I need him to be a goofball and a clown all the time, but I don't know. Sad Captain Jack does not endear him to me, I guess. But then I watch Arrow, and he plays Malcolm Merlyn, which Malcolm Merlyn is total opposite of Captain Jack. He is like total not John Barrowman. He's very serious and all these kinds of things.
Steaming and
yes, it just he's a bad dude. He's a very bad dude. But then at the same time, I won't spoil too much or if anything. This most recent season, there's times where you kind of root for him because his goals align with Oliver Queen's, and you know, with the hero's goals. So it's sort of like, okay, and it's just sort of interesting, like, because he does. It turns out that he has a daughter, and he cares about her quite a bit, and it's just kind of an interesting twist on character, I think, because in the first season he was just total sleazeball. You hated him. He was awful. And then he comes back and it's like, oh, you actually do have something you care about, that you're not this terrible person, but still I don't like you because you're still doing terrible things. And another funny story, because I think this came out of Salt Lake Comic Con, because Stephen Amell was here that same year. and he told this story about how when they were filming the first season of Arrow, and he's telling about John Barrowman, and they were filming this really serious scene, and it was like in a hospital hallway, and so it's like Oliver Queen and Malcolm Merlyn, they're talking, and it's something really kind of dramatic and serious. So they're filming this, and at the end of the scene, it requires them to walk past each other, like going the other direction. And I would probably have to find the YouTube video to show this. Well, they actually both told this exact same story because someone asked them like what was the most memorable scene or something, and so this video is intercut with John Barrowman's response and Stephen Amell's and it's like, so they're walking, and then they walk off scene, and John walks, and then all of a sudden, like, so he's really stoic and Malcolm Merlyn and very serious, and then all of a sudden when he's at the camera shot, he does this thing where he like strikes a pose and snaps his fingers and points.
I can so picture that.
Everybody on the set just cracked up, and John and Steven told the exact same story in their two different panels, and everybody just laughed. And it was funny because John is in musical theater, and he's a dancer.
Oh, yes.
So when he did the move, it was like all graceful and really on point. When Steven did it, it was kind of like clunky and awkward, but it was still funny because Stephen Amell is not a dancer in any sense of the word, but he did his best, and it made me laugh.
I think that's John Barrowman in a nutshell, is what that is.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Like, hey, you, let's dance. So.
He's way too talented. Actor, dancer, singer. Oh, I love his voice.
That's what they call the triple threat. Can sing and dance and act all at the same time.
Okay, it wasn't at Salt Lake Comic Con. I misspoke. It was actually at Phoenix Comic Con. And we will put this link in the show notes. Speakers to be in the show notes. Mm-hmm. It is amazing.
No. Excuse me. I got all excited. I'm choking on it.
And it's actually the first time that their characters meet in the series. So it's a very serious moment. So John is like big John Barrowman. oh, bless his heart.
Yeah.
I remember that scene, and I could just picture him doing that.
And he's, John is. I mean, he's very, like I said, he's very charming and out there and all that. But at the same time, that really is a good thing too, that he's so not afraid to speak his mind, because I've seen and heard things from him, like talking to fans at conventions. He's all about being true to yourself and, feel how you want to feel and, love what you want to love. I'd seen like a gift set or something at some convention, and some person was an audience person was asking him a question, and the audience person apologized for being all crazy fan, and John was like, there's no need to apologize, own it. If you're excited, I'm excited, let's all be excited. And that's one of the things that I love about John and some of these other people that we're fans of, is like, the fandom doesn't frighten them. They enjoy it, and they embrace it. They embrace it, and they let us know that we should embrace our fandom and our excitement as well. And it's just one big happy family, and it's fantastic.
Yes.
So.
And And I remember, I can't remember how recent this is, probably within the last month, because when John and I think Scott was with him, they were on some vacation, like road trip sort of thing. And John was keeping people, you probably saw this, he was keeping people, is giving hints as to where they were. And he's like, if you see us, come up and get a picture and I'll post it. It was sort of like a contest almost, like find John and Scott and get a picture with them. And there were all these people like finding them, and it's like, normally when you're on a vacation, you're like, oh, unwind, get away from work, get away from everybody. But for these guys, it was like, no, we want to see everybody, we come find us and come see us, come say hello, and we want to meet you and see you and all those things. And it's just like, man. I was like, I kind of wish I was where you guys are. I think we're in California somewhere, so I'm like, I ain't driving out there for that. Yeah. But still, it's cool to see.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's constantly posting, when he's flying somewhere, he'll usually post when he's at the airport, and then when he's on the plane, and when he's landed, and pictures of his drinks, or if he's out shopping, like he was out shopping for shoes. Like last week, and the store he was at did not have the pair he wanted in his size. So he's like posted a picture of them on Instagram. He's like, find these online for me, people, and send me the link. So he's like, I can buy these shoes.
Crowdsourcing.
Yeah, exactly. So, and he's been... and he's been, recognized for the stuff he's done, with him being so open and gung-ho about, people embracing, who they are and all that. He's very much an advocate for, anti-bullying and gay rights issues and all that. And what was it last year that he got his MBE from the which Vortex boys, if you're listening, is different from the OBE. I don't know how, but it is. They're ranked. So there are tiers that you can get, and it's like I hate to say the lowest, but it is one of the lower tiers of awards that you can get from the British monarchy. Obviously getting a knighthood or a damehood, is the highest honor that a civilian can get from the British monarchy. But still, the MBE is still, any sort of recognition from the Queen is, good, I would think, and an honor. And that's one of the reasons why he was given that honor is, it's because he sounds American because he's grown up primarily in America. He's actually from Glasgow originally, but they moved to he moved to America when he was like 7. So
but he still has the Scottish accent, which he can fall into like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hearing him in his Scottish accent is like, whoa, wow, and then it kind of surprises you when he does.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I
remember when I saw him at Fan Expo, he would like switch back and forth between his Scottish and American accent in the same sentence.
Oh wow.
I barely speak with the accent I have properly. I can't imagine doing that. So.
I'm not even sure what accent I have.
Yeah.
I'm told so many things, like, I don't know.
So, yeah, I think that surprises some people when they find out that John is technically not American. He's from Glasgow. So. But he has a home in California.
Love those Scots.
Yeah, he's got a home in Glasgow. He's got a home in London because didn't Jenna Coleman live in his flat in Cardiff. Didn't he?
That sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I know
also didn't
Karen lived in his place in Cardiff.
Okay.
She was on Doctor Who.
It was one of them. I couldn't remember if it was Jenna or Karen. It was somebody from Doctor Who lived in John's place for a short while.
I know Karen did because they had this whole thing about apparently she broke something.
Yeah. I think that's right. I don't remember where she told that story. It was at a convention, I think.
Probably.
So. But that's the kind of cool person John Barrowman is.
Yes. So. Very much.
And he continues to be that triple threat. You know, he's Arrow's on on summer hiatus at the moment, but going back to filming Arrow, I guess, at some point.
Yeah, he's still on it. I
say, is he still alive? Is his character still alive? Spoilers.
Yeah, I will say he is still alive. I thought for a while they were going to kill him off, but they didn't. So I'm like, okay, excuse me, he'll be back.
Yeah.
And so he's been upgraded to a regular for. season 2 he wasn't in it except for the last little bit because he just he wasn't in it, but then he showed back up, and then they season 3 they upgraded him to a regular cast member. So yeah, he's in it. He's going to be in it in season 4, I do believe, unless someone said something else that I missed.
No, he should still be in it because he got. I don't want to say anything, but what happened in the season finale of season 3, he should still be around.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, I remember. I've had so many season finales, in my head. I just, I need the summer to recuperate and process them, and I still got to watch iZombie, which is got 2 more episodes left.
Yeah.
It's been a rough season finale
and then
thing.
At the moment, John is currently on tour, singing tour, in between conventions.
Yes, he sings.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he writes.
And
I just remembered that he's written some books.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he co-wrote a children's series called Hollow Earth with his sister Carol, and I think Carol's more the writer, but they collaborated on it, and so yeah, I remember because I think I read the first one of that series, and I didn't read the rest because I didn't have time, but I saw it when I worked at the library, and I'm like, hey, I know who that guy is. So,
I could be wrong, but did he write some Torchwood related things? I don't know. I could be remembering this wrong, but I think I heard that before.
I don't remember, but let me look it up.
It would not surprise me, considering.
I'm sure. Yeah, it would.
All the stuff he does.
If this Big Finish thing, if Big Finish with Torchwood goes well, he may write some for Big Finish, which I would totally be cool with.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming.
And then we do have the Torchwood coming from Big Finish to look forward to, so that will be coming up later in the year. So he's like Martin Freeman. You can find John Barrowman lots of places.
Okay, so here it is. He wrote his memoir and autobiography, Anything Goes. That was published in 2008. And then I Am What I Am. It's his second memoir. He did write his original fiction. It was a Torchwood comic strip titled Captain Jack and the Selkie. That was co-written with his sister. And then they wrote the Hollow Earth series.
Okay,
so yeah, he did the comic strip. So that was probably what you were.
That's probably what I was.
Mm.
I know it was something Torchwood related, so at least I'm not totally wrong.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was more like a short story, but.
And if you happen to have any of John's CDs, apparently those are valid admission to the Doctor Who experience in Cardiff.
according to the 5-ish doctors.
Yes.
Oh, that was great.
Well, I do have one CD.
So there you go. If you ever go to Cardiff, you don't want to pay the 40 quid or whatever the cost is. You can do a John Barrowman. I wonder how many people have actually tried that. And more, how many people have tried it and they actually accepted it? That's what I want to know. Although John has a really nice singing voice, so
He does.
I don't know if I had one of his CDs, I would probably want to keep it. And he does a lot of like Broadway and stuff too, which I enjoy listening as well. So
the CD that I have, I also have. I have it on my iPod, so I could give up the physical CD with no problem whatsoever, and still be able to listen to the songs.
Yeah.
You should, there's also, I'm sure it's on YouTube, is John singing, I don't know if you're familiar with Wicked, the song, The Wizard and I, and then he retooled the lyrics a little bit. The Doctor and I, where it's Jack, Captain Jack wanting to travel with the Doctor.
That is on YouTube.
I mean, he did.
I watched it on YouTube. I remember that.
Yeah, he didn't have to fix the lyrics too much to make it make sense, but it's he does sing.
Yeah.
Very well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's just.
He's
love him.
He's He's so talented. He's got more talent than in his entire person than I do in like my little toe, or he's got more talent in his little toe than I do in my entire person. Something like that.
Yeah.
I sing in the shower. And sometimes in the car, so
Yeah.
no, but if you're a fan of John's, they more than likely you can find some way to see him. Check your convention schedule and check his website and all that, because he'll, like I said, I think the tour he's doing right now is just, but you never know, he may come to the States and do a little singing and dancing for folks, so.
Or he'll do it at a convention near you.
Or he'll do it at a convention, especially if you're like a dude that's got a chiseled abs and you're wearing a loincloth. He'll sing all you want.
Cosplay Tarzan.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Fun.
So you want to get up and close up with John? There you go. There's our hint. And Scott just takes it all in stride. Well,
I've heard he's
just as bad.
Yeah, well, as I established when I went to Galley and I found out that Scott's just as bad as John.
Yeah.
They're made for each other.
Yep.
Yep. Awesome.
Alrighty. Well, I think with that, we'll leave the hat and the rest of the remaining names for some time in the future.
So if you like this segment, if you think this worked out, if you want to just give us feedback on how it went, you can do that, or any kind of feedback at all. We'll take it.
Mm-hmm.
You can leave it. You go to our website or our blog, the Five-ish Fangirls Podcast.blogspot.com, and there you will find places to leave comments. You can find our email address, fiveishfangirls@gmail.com. We're on. You can also find us on Twitter and Facebook and Tumblr and Pinterest and Instagram, and leave us a review on iTunes, rate us, and YouTube. We're there. We're posting stuff all the time, and also we had room this month. We could put an extra episode, one of our archived episodes, on our iTunes feed. It's our, Don't Feed the Trolls episode about when fandom goes bad and how we deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was a fun one. I remember enjoying that one a lot. So enjoy that, and and subscribe on Patreon if you feel so inclined, and donate to the show so we can keep this going. If you feel like what we do is worth a little bit of extra spare change.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, and if you've been listening and you were thinking of sending in feedback for next week's show, would be really appropriate, as we alluded to at the beginning of the show. We are quickly approaching on our 1 year anniversary birthday of this show. We'll have been doing the show for a year, which is crazy.
I know.
So the plans are
We're gonna be a whole year old.
Yeah, the plans are next week to record our big 1 year anniversary special, which I'm still not entirely sure what exactly we're going to talk about, but we're hopefully going to have guests. Knock on wood, everything works out and people don't forget. Unlike last time we had guests of a certain other podcast. We're not naming any names, but you know who you are.
We still love you, but
if they're
you know
even
who
listening.
you are.
Yeah, that you missed out last time. So yeah, if you've got anything you'd like to say about the show and the last year of Tangents and Squee, you know, what you've liked, what you haven't liked, what you'd like us to see for the next year, memories, that sort of thing, you know, send your feedback our way before next weekend, and we'll hopefully be able to mention it on the show. So, and we've got other things planned as well for our loyal listeners. So, but those will be revealed next week. So you're gonna have to wait. But
yes, and thank
yeah.
And thank you for being here, whether you've been listening from the start or just found us last week and are listening for the first time. Thank you for listening, and thank you for being here. We really appreciate it. It's nice to know there are, because we see the downloads. I mean, it's nice to know people are listening to our craziness and squee and fangirly insanity, because we enjoy it. And you know, sometimes I know for myself, I don't know if you other ladies can speak to this, but you know, for a long time it was sort of like, oh, I'm the only one who's into this stuff. I don't know anybody who likes this. I don't have anyone to talk about with it. And then lo and behold, hey, here you all are.
Yep.
And it's kind of fun to connect that way and to do this like this. So, you know, if you've been here with us, thank you. You're wonderful, and we love you. Whether or not you send in feedback, because we know you're out there.
Mm-hmm.
And keep fangirling on, or fanboying on, or whatever you want to call it.
Let the squee continue.
The squee will continue.
Mm-hmm.
Tangents and squee will continue.
Exactly. So,
it always does.
You know, that is what's on the docket, at least for next week. So, and other stuff planned for the future, but we'll talk about that later. We have ideas.
We're teasing you.
Yes.
We're teasing you
We're gonna dangle a carrot. Yeah. Stay tuned to social media. All those links and stuffs that Chrissy mentioned. Make sure you're following us on the various social medias, especially our Facebook page and our Twitter, and especially for next week, because those will potentially pay off for you with stuffs. So
yes,
more to be revealed. So alrighty.
And before we totally spoil the ending.
Yeah. Before we ruin all the surprises, let's sign off.
Alright. This is Brittany and Papio saying goodnight.
This is Chrissy saying goodnight from Salt Lake City.
This is Mitch saying goodnight from Kitchener, Ontario.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm gonna go on an adventure! Been listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. Any and all movies, books, games, and other forms of media mentioned are owned and operated by the respective copyright holders. No copyright infringement is intended or implied.